The 3 phrases that will transform your intimate life forever. What if I told you that 3 simple phrases could completely revolutionize your intimate relationship? Not techniques, not positions, not expensive lingerie, just words. 3 specific phrases that have the power to reignite passion in long-term relationships and create deeper connection than you ever thought possible. I'm about to share something that most relationship experts won't tell you, something that could change everything about how you experience intimacy. But before we dive in, I need you to understand something crucial. This isn't about manipulation or tricks. This is about authentic communication that creates real connection. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why these phrases work, when to use them, and how they can transform not just your intimate moments, but your entire relationship dynamic. The hidden truth about mature intimacy. Here's what nobody talks about. Most intimacy problems in mature relationships don't come from lack of technique or experience. They come from fear. Fear of expressing what you really feel, fear of seeming too intense, fear of judgment. And this fear is especially strong for women who were raised with taboos around female sexuality. But here's the truth I've discovered after years of research and working with couples. Your partner wants to hear you. They desperately want to know that what they're doing affects you, moves you, excites you. Men especially need visual and auditory validation. They need to know they're doing it right, that they're giving you real pleasure. And here's what will absolutely blow your mind. When you finally give yourself permission to express what you feel, when you stop censoring yourself, when you allow your voice to be part of the experience, something magical happens. Your own pleasure intensifies exponentially. Why? Because when you vocally express what you're feeling, your brain processes that experience more intensely. You're literally living the experience twice, once physically and once verbally. This creates a positive feedback cycle that elevates everything to a completely different level. The science behind intimate communication. Let me share something fascinating. There's actual neuroscience behind why verbal communication during intimacy is so powerful. When you use your voice to express pleasure, you're activating multiple areas of your brain simultaneously. The auditory cortex processes the sound of your own voice, the emotional centers respond to the feelings you're expressing, and the pleasure centers amplify the physical sensations. This isn't just theory. This is measurable brain activity that shows why couples who communicate verbally during intimacy report significantly higher satisfaction levels. They're literally creating a neurological symphony that enhances every aspect of the experience. But there's something even deeper happening here. Using your voice during intimacy is an act of reclaiming your sexual agency. For too many women, especially those raised with restrictive ideas about female sexuality, the bedroom becomes a place of silence and passivity. Breaking that silence is revolutionary. When you express your pleasure without shame or embarrassment, you're sending a powerful message to your subconscious. You deserve pleasure, your sexuality is beautiful, your enjoyment matters. This psychological shift doesn't just improve your intimate life, it transforms your entire relationship with your own sexuality. The preparation phase, setting the foundation. Before I reveal these 3 transformative phrases, we need to talk about preparation. You can't just show up one night and start saying completely different things without creating the proper foundation. This requires strategic groundwork. First, create an atmosphere of openness outside the bedroom. This doesn't mean having awkward, clinical conversations. Start subtly, during coffee, while walking, when you're both relaxed. Ask what they like to hear, if they feel comfortable with more verbal communication during intimacy. Here's what most people don't realize. After years together, we assume we know what our partner likes, but preferences evolve. What worked 5 years ago might not be the same today. This conversation gives you valuable information while opening the door for them to be more expressive with you too. This is also your opportunity to establish your own boundaries and preferences. Share what kind of communication excites you, what words make you feel uncomfortable. Remember, this is an exchange, not an interrogation. The second preparation step is genius. Use text messages as your testing ground. Yes, strategic sexting adapted to your situation. I'm not talking about compromising photos or anything that makes you uncomfortable. I'm talking about messages that build anticipation throughout the day. For example, tonight I want you to do that thing I love so much, or I can't stop thinking about how it feels when you touch me. These messages serve as a thermometer. Their reaction tells you everything about how receptive they are to more direct communication. But here's the brilliant part. Intimate text messages don't just build anticipation, they give you practice. They help you find your voice, discover what words feel natural and which ones make you uncomfortable. It's like rehearsing before the main performance. They also allow you to experiment with different intensity levels. Start with subtle messages and gradually become more direct based on their responses. It's a safe way to explore this new territory without the pressure of the immediate intimate moment. The 3 phrases that change everything. Now, let's get to what you've been waiting for. These 3 phrases aren't magical formulas. They work because they touch 3 fundamental psychological needs we all have: validation, connection, and admiration. Validation is the need to know we're doing it right, that we're giving pleasure, that our efforts are appreciated. Connection is that feeling of being truly united with our partner, not just physically but emotionally. Admiration is knowing we're desired, that we're special, that we have something unique to offer. When you understand these underlying needs, you can use these phrases not as mechanical scripts, but as authentic expressions of what you're really experiencing. And that authenticity is what makes them incredibly powerful. Phrase number 1, you feel delicious. The first phrase, and this is probably the most transformative of all, is you feel delicious. I know it might sound unusual at first, especially if you're not used to expressing yourself verbally during intimacy, but let me explain why this phrase is absolutely revolutionary. First, it's completely universal. It doesn't matter the position, doesn't matter the specific moment. This phrase always works because it speaks directly to the physical sensations you're experiencing in real time. When you say, you feel delicious, you're communicating that physical contact with them is generating genuine pleasure for you. You're talking about textures, temperature, the way their body feels against yours. This isn't generic or cliché. It's specific to that exact moment, that precise sensation. But here's what makes this phrase absolutely powerful. It immediately elevates your partner's self-esteem. You're telling them that not only do you like what they're doing, but that their body, their physical presence, generates pleasure for you. It's personal, intimate, and pure validation. There's something else that makes this phrase particularly effective. It uses sensory language. It's not intellectual or abstractly emotional. It's completely physical and visceral. When they hear, you feel delicious, their brain immediately connects with the physical sensations of the present moment. Now, here's something super important for you to know. When you use this phrase, they'll very likely intensify what they're doing. This happens because people tend to interpret expressions of pleasure as signals to continue and amplify. It's instinctive. They want to keep giving you the pleasure you're expressing. You can reinforce this with your body language. Keep your hands on them in a way that guides them to maintain the rhythm. Move your body to reinforce the pattern you want them to continue. Nonverbal communication can be just as powerful as words. Phrase number 2, don't stop. The second phrase is, don't stop, but here's the crucial detail about timing. This phrase should only be used when you're genuinely building toward climax. If you use it too early, you might accelerate their process and make them finish before you've had time to fully develop your arousal. Those of us with experience know that timing in intimacy is everything. It's not like in movies where everything happens simultaneously and perfectly. In real life, we need communication, guidance, and patience. This phrase has a powerful psychological effect on you as well. When you say, don't stop, you're taking control of your own experience. You're actively directing your own pleasure, and that feeling of empowerment can significantly intensify your experience. Many women have been conditioned to be passive during sex, to receive whatever they're given without specifically asking for what they need. Using this phrase is an act of reclaiming your sexual agency. You're saying that your pleasure matters, that you have the right to direct the experience toward what works for you. The key is authenticity. Don't say, "Don't stop," unless you genuinely don't want them to stop. Your partner will sense the difference between a genuine plea and a performed one. Authenticity has an energetic quality that's impossible to fake. Phrase number 3, "You drive me wild." The third phrase, and this is my personal favorite, is, "You drive me wild," or, "You turn me on like crazy." I know it sounds colloquial, but that's exactly why it works. It's authentic, real, the type of expression that comes from someone who's genuinely losing control. This phrase is incredibly powerful because it does something few expressions achieve. It completely personalizes the experience. You're not saying that you feel good in general, you're not saying that sex is good. You're telling them that they specifically are the one driving you crazy with desire. Can you see the difference? It's the difference between, "This feels good," and, "You drive me crazy." One is about the activity, the other is about them as a person, as a lover, as the one responsible for everything you're feeling. When someone hears, "You drive me wild," you're touching their ego in the most positive way possible. You're telling them they're special, that they have something that transforms you, that they're the one who awakens that passionate version of you. This works on multiple levels. Emotionally, it makes them feel unique and desired. Psychologically, it reinforces their confidence. And physically, that validation translates into more energy, more intensity, more connection. But there's something deeper happening here. This phrase is also a declaration about your own sexuality. You're admitting that you have a wild part, a part that can lose control, a part that can be completely consumed by desire. And that's incredibly liberating. Many women, especially those raised with conservative ideas about female sexuality, have parts of themselves that they've kept hidden or repressed. This phrase is a way of giving permission to those parts to emerge and express themselves. You can use this phrase at different moments, during foreplay while building tension, in the middle of the act when you're really feeling that loss of control, even afterward as a way to reinforce how incredible the experience was. The art of authentic delivery. Here's what really makes these phrases transformative. It's not just what you say, but how you say it. Your tone of voice, your facial expression, your body language, everything has to be congruent with the words. If you say, "You feel delicious," with a flat voice and no emotion, it won't have the same impact as saying it with genuine pleasure and admiration. Authenticity cannot be faked. Your partner will know if you're really feeling what you're saying. That's why it's crucial that you use these phrases only when you genuinely feel them, only when they're authentic expressions of what you're experiencing. Emotional authenticity has an energetic quality that's impossible to replicate. When you really feel what you're saying, when the words arise from genuine experience, they have power that transcends the words themselves. Your partner doesn't just hear the words, they feel the truth behind them. This emotional truth is what creates the deep connection we all seek. It's not just physical intimacy, it's real emotional intimacy. It's the difference between having an encounter and creating an experience that both of you will remember and treasure. Overcoming the fear factor. I know some of you are thinking, "But I'm embarrassed to talk like that," or, "I don't know if my partner will react well," or, "What if they judge me or think I'm too intense?" These concerns are completely valid. Many of us were raised with the idea that proper women don't openly express their sexuality. But here's what I've learned. True intimacy requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is scary, especially when it comes to something as personal as sexuality. However, that shared vulnerability is exactly what creates the deep connection we all seek. If your partner judges you for expressing your pleasure, for communicating what you feel, for being authentic in intimacy, then the problem isn't you. The problem is that you might not have the right partner for this level of emotional intimacy. A mature partner, someone who truly loves and desires you, will receive your expressiveness as the gift it is. They'll understand that when you open up that way, when you share your intimate experience so directly, you're giving them access to a very private and special part of yourself. If you're in a long-term relationship where you've never been very verbally expressive, your partner might be surprised at first. That's normal. But if the relationship is solid, if there's love and communication, that surprise will quickly turn into excitement and gratitude. You don't have to change overnight. If you've never been very verbally expressive during intimacy, don't expect to transform completely in one night. It's a process, an evolution. Start small, with more audible responses, more expressive sounds, simpler words. The important thing is authenticity. A sincere yes is better than an elaborate phrase you don't feel. Your partner will connect much more with your emotional honesty than with any perfect but empty technique. Understanding what this can and can't do. Let me be completely honest with you about something you might not want to hear, but which is fundamental. Verbal communication during intimacy won't save a relationship that already has serious problems. If there's lack of respect, if there are trust issues, if there are deep communication problems, these techniques might help temporarily, but they won't solve underlying issues. What they can do is strengthen a relationship that already has a solid foundation. They can add a new dimension to intimacy that's already healthy. They can keep passion alive in a couple that loves each other but might have fallen into routine. Every couple is different. What works incredibly well with one person might not have the same effect with another. That's why the initial conversation I mentioned is so important. You need to know your partner, understand their preferences, respect their boundaries. Some people are very auditory and respond incredibly well to verbal expressions. Others are more tactile and prefer communication through touch. Some are naturally expressive, others are more reserved. There's no single formula that works for everyone. But here's what is universal: the need for connection, for validation, for knowing we're desired and that we're giving pleasure. We all have those needs, regardless of age, gender, or previous experience. The deeper transformation. Using your voice during intimacy isn't just for your partner's benefit, it's also for you. When you express what you feel, when you verbalize your pleasure, you're allowing yourself to experience intimacy more completely. There's something incredibly liberating about being able to say exactly what you're feeling, about not having to hold anything back, about not having to be appropriate or correct, about being completely authentic in one of the most vulnerable moments of your life. This authenticity has an incredible effect on your own experience. When you're not worried about how you look or sound, when you're not censoring your natural reactions, you can surrender completely to the moment. You can experience levels of pleasure you might not have known were possible. But there's also a deeper psychological aspect. When you use your voice during intimacy, you're reclaiming your sexual agency. You're affirming that your pleasure matters, that you have the right to direct the experience, that you're an active participant in creating this intimacy. For many women, especially those raised with restrictive ideas about female sexuality, this can be deeply healing. It's a way of rewriting old messages about what's appropriate or acceptable. Beyond the bedroom, creating a culture of communication. These phrases are just the beginning. They're like the gateway to deeper and richer intimate communication. Once you feel comfortable expressing yourself verbally, you can start exploring other forms of communication. You can start talking about desires, specific preferences, things you've always wanted to try but never dared mention. You can guide more specifically. You can ask for exactly what you need. You can share your boundaries and preferences. This open and honest communication is what differentiates mature intimacy from youthful intimacy. When you're young, much of intimacy is instinctive, it's exploration, discovery. When you're mature, it can be intentional, specific, exactly what you want it to be. That's incredibly powerful. It means you don't have to settle for mediocre experiences. It means you don't have to pretend something feels good when it doesn't. It means you can create exactly the intimate life you want to have. But it also means you have the responsibility to communicate what you want. You can't expect your partner to guess. You can't get frustrated because they're not doing something you've never asked for. Clear and direct communication is the foundation of all good intimacy. Sexual communication isn't just about the act itself, it's also about conversations before and after. It's about creating a general atmosphere of openness and honesty in your relationship. This means talking about intimacy when you're not being intimate. It means discussing what worked well after an encounter. It means sharing thoughts during a walk. It means creating a safe space where both can express desires, concerns, and curiosities. These conversations can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've never had them before. But with practice, they become natural, and the impact they have on your intimate life is extraordinary. The right partnership. All of this requires having the right partner. A partner who respects you, who values your communication, who's interested in your pleasure as much as their own. If your partner isn't willing to listen to you, if they get upset when you express your needs, if they prefer you to stay quiet, then maybe you need to evaluate if that's the right relationship for you. Because here's the truth, you deserve incredible intimacy. You deserve a partner who celebrates your expressiveness, who gets excited when you share what you feel, who does everything possible to give you pleasure. You don't have to settle for less because of your age or because you've been in the relationship for a long time. I firmly believe that mature women deserve the best intimacy of our lives. We've spent enough time learning what we don't want. We've had enough mediocre experiences. It's time to have exactly what we do want. Your journey starts now. Your voice is powerful. Your words have the power to transform not just intimate encounters, but the entire dynamic of your relationship. So use it. Express yourself. Be authentic. Create the extraordinary intimacy you deserve. Remember, this isn't just about technique or saying the right words. This is about creating real connection, authentic intimacy, experiences that nourish not just your body but also your soul. This is about allowing yourself to be completely seen, heard, and celebrated in one of the most beautiful and vulnerable aspects of human experience. You deserve that. Your partner deserves that. Your relationship deserves that. Start today. Start with a conversation. Start with a message. Start with an authentic phrase that arises from what you're really feeling. Allow yourself to discover the incredible power of your own intimate voice. The 3 phrases we've discussed today, "you feel delicious," "don't stop," and "you drive me wild," are tools. But the real transformation happens when you embrace the courage to be completely authentic in your most intimate moments. This is your invitation to step into a new level of intimacy, connection, and personal empowerment. Your voice matters. Your pleasure matters. You matter. Take what resonates with you from this video and make it your own. Adapt it to your personality, your relationship, your unique situation. The goal isn't to become someone else, it's to become more authentically yourself. Your intimate life is waiting for this transformation. Your partner is waiting for this deeper connection. And most importantly, you're waiting to discover the incredible woman you become when you give yourself permission to be completely, authentically, powerfully you. The journey to extraordinary intimacy begins with a single word, a single phrase, a single moment of courage. Today could be that moment. Will you take that first step?